All right, so
I have to give you a little bit of credit for this.
Yeah, we can overdub it later. Just so
haven't had any crazy stories about. Oh wait, no, I do. I got robbed at gunpoint, mugged.
Checking for me, but I ain't checking for them. No.
sleazy real estate guys.
News
But
you.
all right, so another episode of the EP podcast here, going beyond the headlines once again with the co-host Arthur Hannick. Arthur, what's going on, man?
I'm great. How are you today?
I'm here. It's Friday. It's another Friday. The week always flies, and we're once here again in front of each other, ready to cover more headlines. But before we do that, if you haven't already, like, comment, share, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell for many, many more episodes to come. And if you'd like to support us, please visit eppodcast.us where you can shop some of our merch. So, Arthur, has been a lot going on in the past month. Just in the year in general, but specifically this week. I think it's only right that we start off with the most obvious one, the big elephant in the room, with Elon Musk and Trump going at it on Twitter. So yesterday, I received a message from our buddy Ken, and he had shared with me a screenshot of a tweet from Elon Musk. It had stated, "Time to drop the really big bomb. At real Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That is the real reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day, Donald J. Trump, DJT." I thought that was some Photoshop, like faked up made picture. It wasn't. I went onto X and I confirmed, and I immediately sent it to you. What was your initial reaction to that?
So what? This isn't news. Anyone who thought Donald had nothing to do with the Epstein mess, I mean, how many photos do you need to see at Donald, Melania, what was her name, Maxwell, and Epstein together at repeated functions? There's thousands of photos, legit photos of them together, and everyone's going, "Oh, Trump wasn't part of that." No, he was.
Yeah. So quick learning opportunity here. So you know how Arthur's talking about the files and everything, and him and Epstein hanging out. This is when you would, like, in the back and look up pictures of all of them hanging out or quick footages, and then you pull it up as we're talking about it, just for future. But no, yeah, that's public information that you know that he's hung out with him, and I don't. Yeah, so he's been on Epstein's plane a couple of times. I don't know exactly how many, but that happened, and the internet went nuts. The internet went nuts. Did you hear anything outside of it, like outside of like for me, about this?
No, but I wasn't paying attention
Yeah.
because it wasn't news.
Well, I mean, it's one thing. It's one thing for a conflict between the two, or disagreement happen between the two. It's another thing for him, who was essentially his right hand man. I mean, people were saying that it was President Elon at one point, or Vice President Elon, or whatever the case was. To now Elon coming out and tweeting such a thing. So I mean that's not that's something big. I mean people saw that. I mean I definitely had a crazy reaction when it happened. I was like, no freaking way, this is true, and social media went crazy. So did you see this coming?
I didn't see this coming. I'm surprised Elon has come to his senses. I mean, he used to make sense to an extent prior to the election, and then he drank the Trump Kool-Aid, and we lost him.
Yeah.
And now he's coming back to his senses.
Yeah. So here's a little bit of what the internet reacted. If you don't mind pulling up the JD Vance tweets from our supplemental sources here, the JD Vance tweet. He dropped this picture. I mean, this was JD Vance tweeting that evening, as you can see, 8:04 p.m. on June 5th, saying, "Slow news today. What are we even going to talk about?" And this is obviously with Theo Vaughn, who has his own podcast. But that was JD Vance's public response, essentially, to everything going on here. What do you think, JD? What do you? So, you know, like when parents fight, the kids shouldn't get involved, you know. But when siblings fights, you know, it's a little different. You know, since Elon and Trump are going at it, what do you think JD's kind of role here is. Like, what if you were in JD's shoes? What would you do with all this happening?
I wouldn't have allowed myself to be in JD's shoes. But since JD is taking the position of a yes man, kiss ass, he's going to side with Donald and just agree with him regardless of what happens.
Yeah, yeah.
Because JD's already completely changed his views on all this. He was anti-Trump, and now when he had the chance to become vice president, he was all about Trump. So I don't really trust JD's credibility when you flip that far.
Yeah.
Because he was talking about impeach Trump, and now he's talking about
But more
King Trump.
specifically, like, what do you think, JD? Like, if you were in JD's shoes and you see that all of a sudden the president is going back and forth with Elon, who was essentially his right hand man, and JD was almost like, for lack of a better term, the side bitch. What would you do?
Shut up.
Okay, so don't say anything at all. No, I agree because it's JD already gets enough crap as it is for the reasons you listed. So, I mean, it's just I don't know. So much happened with that. JD started going like he posted that, as you can see, it got 60.1 million views. Pull up the Elon one. How many views did that one get? 504, but that was like within like minutes of it happening. At that point in time, it was 514,000 views. So, and at that point, it was 28. And this is not my screenshot, by the way. So I didn't repost that or like that tweet. So just had to put it out there. But okay, that was JD's response, and even more people wrote of that reacted. The one and only Kanye West. I mean, yay. Sorry, I don't want to misrepresent him. Ye also tweeted, and this is what he tweeted here. He tweeted, an hour later, bros, please know we love you both so much. So, yay. And look at that. At 3:33 p.m., he got 10.9 million views. Now, we all know that Ye has a relationship with Donald Trump, and he's tried to help Donald Trump in the past and all that kind of stuff like that. What are your thoughts on Ye's comments here?
He's just looking to get his name out there.
You think so?
What does he have to add to this conversation?
Well, that's very true. He's just a celebrity at the end of the day, right? So, I mean, when it comes to celebrities, it's to get your name out there thing. But, Ye, as we know, he tried to run back in, when was it? Was it in 2018?
He wasn't really trying to run.
Well, he came out and done a few rallies, or like one rally where he just started crying and bursting into tears, about his father or something like that, wanting to abort him or something like that.
Okay, well, he got his name on the ticket in very specific states that would hurt the Democrats to support Donald. He wasn't out there enough that he could have ever gotten enough electoral votes.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really consider it a real campaign.
Mm-hmm.
It was just to bolster Donald's campaign.
So we've had J.D. Vance, a political figure. We've had Kanye West, who is a celebrity in the music industry. But we even had people in the media too, specifically referring to Piers Morgan here. So Piers Morgan, as we've talked about Piers Morgan several times before, he tweeted, if you just want to take a look here, if you guys want to come on Piers Uncensored, which is a show, shameless plug, and duke this out for a few hours, I'll make it happen. Should Trump and Elon go to Piers Morgan's Uncensored and duke it out?
I would say yes for Elon, no for Trump.
Okay, and why is that? Give me both reasons. Why yes for Elon?
It's not going to hurt him.
True. Okay.
Trump has everything to lose.
Mm-hmm.
Elon had full access. So if he's saying that Trump's in the Epstein files, I would take his word for that.
Yeah. Do you think, okay. This is something I started thinking about after we did the research, right? Let's pull up Elon's tweet again, please. So let's read that again. Time to drop the really big bomb. Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That is the real reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day, DJT. Now, Do you think this is some orchestrated thing here to reel in some attention somewhere between Elon and Trump?
Nope.
No, not at all. You think this is a genuine like conflict that they're having, personal and professional conflict that they're having?
Yep.
And okay, so my next question is now technically, Epstein and Trump have been publicly seen hanging out several times as we discussed. So while he's saying is true, does it really mean in the light of that he's being kind of making it out to be? Could it be that it's just he used to hang out with them, but he wasn't involved in like the Epstein Island stuff or whatever it was that they did there?
Trump gave Elon full access to all government records.
Mm-hmm.
These files are government records.
Yeah.
So I imagine Elon took a quick look through them
Yeah.
and knows why they're not being publicly released, despite the outcry to have them publicly released,
Mm-hmm.
because it's going to put Trump in an even worse light than before.
So we're leaning with this is why it hasn't came out. Now, do you think Epstein really killed himself?
Didn't we see him take like a cyanide pill in court?
Well, he supposedly killed himself in his cell. He like hung himself or something like that. But apparently, this is like newer stuff. But I think Patel came out saying that there was footage. Not Patel. What's the other guy? The FBI director. No, he's not director because that's Patel. It's like I forget someone else in there. He used to have a podcast. Let's look that up. Let's see, FBI advisor or something like that. Yeah. Let's go there. Let's see. Yeah, let's go to images. Oh yeah. So I forget his name, but he had a show. He had a show on YouTube before, and he essentially came out saying that there were surveillance cameras. It was poor footage. It was poor footage with what they had. Essentially CCTV footage. Not CCTV footage because that's out in the streets, but essentially videos of like staff coming in and out of like the cell, just regular checks up and stuff like that. Because I think, did they have him on solitary? Is it solitary confinement? Is that what it is?
Might have been in isolation.
Some form of isolation. Yeah. So and then they said that nothing looked off about that.
But
so,
the other part was he was actively in court, so you kind of keep him in a position to easily get him in and out, and not have to be with separate him from other people because he's in an active court case for most of the day. Take him back, feed him, put him in bed, then wakes up and take him back out again. So it's just easier if you keep him in a isolated section that's easy for the guards to transport him in and out of.
And why shouldn't Trump go on Piers Morgan?
What good's going to come out of it for Trump?
I hear what you're saying, but at the same time, some would argue that the reason Trump won the election, a big contributor to why Trump won the election, is because he went on these platforms.
Well, Elon's going to say the big reason Trump won the election is because Elon funded it, which then brings in the question, why is one person allowed to donate so much money to an election? Well, I think we need to review those rules again and bring back the caps and end these super PACs, and we'll see what happens. But this is a great example of why we had these laws in place, and now with this little feud, maybe we'll have to correct some issues.
Well, that's along the lines of what Elon said. Look up Elon, the reason Trump won is because of me or something like that. And that's one of the things he tweeted yesterday. Trump won. Yep. And then just search that. Yep. Go to images. Someone had to screenshot. There you go. Look at that. No, that's not it. Just wait, right there. Yep, there you go. You found it. So look at this. It says Elon Musk on You don't have to do that. Just leave it as it is there because it's gonna look. It's fine as it is. So this was on the 6th, on the 5th, June 5th. He said, "Without me, Trump would have lost the election. Dems would control the House, and the Republicans would be 51-49 in the Senate." Do you agree with him?
Based on how much money he threw at this election, that's probably correct.
Who do you think would win in a debate, Elon or Trump?
Well, depends on what the debate rules are. If Trump is allowed to stand there and make everything up like he has in all of his other debates, that's hard to debate somebody who's just going to make shit up.
Okay, but I mean, everybody fact checks everything after the fact.
But no one cares when Trump just stands there and lie.
In theory, it should be each one fact checking each other, right? When a debate, because if the moderator is interrupting and not moderating, instead fact checking as they go, that just disrupts the whole flow of the debate, I imagine. Because I think that's what part of the problem was in some of the in some of the debates that happened last year. I think that was one of the things that was viewed from the right, that the moderators kept getting involved in the debate for whatever reason. So no, but my thing is, like, I feel like,
well, you also have to remember, after Trump and the Fox News mess and the claims on the 2020 election, it got ruled that the media can't allow falsehoods to be stated if they know it's false. So that's why they have to come out and correct things that are incorrect.
How many like media outlets do you think are actually upholding that?
They're afraid of being sued for, what was that sum? $1 trillion?
What?
$1 billion?
Well, when Trump sued...
No, from Fox News, when they came to the settlement for the election company, when Fox News knowingly stated that the company that had the election machines...
was that at Wall Street? No. Was it at New York Times?
No, that was Fox News.
Look that up real quick. Fox News. How should we look this up? Fox News.
It was going to be a big deal here in the city of Wilmington.
Well, how should we look this up? Fox News.
It was a Fox. They settled. So
Fox News $1 billion settlement.
Yeah.
2024.
No, I don't know when they settled. 22, 21.
Okay. Okay, right here. First, well, that's a sponsor link. Let's look at the
$787 million
over election claims.
Yeah,
all right, open up AP News real quick and then see what that first summary paragraph says.
Which was roughly half of what the lawsuit was going to probably yield Dominion.
Oh, right, and that's why someone got I forget. Didn't that's why what's it called? Tucker Carlson got let go, was it not?
I think so.
See if right there. So the stunning settlement emerged just as opening statements were supposed to begin, abruptly ending a case that had embarrassed Fox News over several months and raised the possibility that network founder Rupert Murdoch and stars such as Tucker Carlson and Shan Hannity would have to testify publicly. Yeah, so that's when they ended up letting go. But hey.
But right after that, the other networks, every time they knew something that was being stated was incorrect, would stop and say, let's just correct this. What you said is wrong. So yeah, I can understand why you're saying that's going to slow down a debate. But some networkers flat out came up and said, we're going to air Trump right now. And please understand what he says may not be true.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, well, you know what? I think Tucker Carlson did just fine. Let's see go to the YouTube tab and look up Tucker Carlson. Let's look at his channel right there. First one, and then open up his channel right there, and then go to the more right above. Yep. So Tucker Carlson, go scroll down. He now has 4.6 million subscribers. He joined July 18, 2023, and it was in 2022 when that settlement happened, or 2023. What did it say on the Fox Dominion? That was 2023. That was published on April 18th, but the lies, the claims supposedly happened in the 2020 presidential election. But now go to Carlson again, and then now he's almost at 1 billion views with 4.6 million subscribers. So I think Tucker Carlson is going to be just fine. Which has happened a lot during that election. A lot of people started getting let it go from their news network. What's his name was also one of them. Was it that he stepped down or he got because of his brother Chris Cuomo?
He stepped
He
down.
stepped down, right? But he was what was he on?
CNN.
CNN, yeah, CNN, and Fox News is mostly right, like right leaning. Look up all bias chart. Look at all bias chart.
Remember, Fox News is entertainment news.
Well,
they're not classified as real news. They even classify themselves as entertainment news.
Do they really? No, Fox News. Well, where's Fox News on here? Surprised Fox News is not here.
It's over to the right in the center.
Oh, there it is, right there. Well, it's Fox Business, but
over
Fox
to the right.
News is all the way to the right.
Yep.
Okay, look at that. All right. And CNN is left. Yeah. So yeah, with a lot of things happen on both sides. Okay. So what's next for Elon and Trump, do you think? Because Elon has said he's gonna be Trump had threatened to pull his government contracts. And Elon is trying to pull back some of the stuff he provides for the government. Where do you think this relationship is gonna go?
South.
Okay. Anything in particular? Now, did you see when Elon, when it was his last, when they made that big media thing where they were in the Oval Office and Elon showed up and he had like a purple eye? Did you see that?
No.
It was like look that up real quick. So look, yeah, images. Yeah, that was as he was like leaving Doge. They were in the middle of the doing a what's it called, like a farewell to Elon from his days at Doge, and then he popped up with his black eye, but he just kept dancing around the question of what had happened, and then days later, a week later, we hear all this beef. You think there was something that happened behind scenes? No. You don't think maybe they were, because you remember what happened to was it Jack Ma from Alibaba, no, AliExpress, what is it, where he spoke up against the Chinese government and he just went missing. You see that? So look up Jack Ma, Jack MA nope, just space, and then missing. Okay, well it says he's not missing, but he was MIA for a while. So he was out of the public view for a period in 2021 after criticizing the Chinese government. And he owns, what's the company? Alibaba. Yeah, that's the big company where a lot of drop shippers get their products from because it's so dirt cheap, so they end up wholesaling them.
Okay, well, I do believe that Jack Ma may have been missing for a period of time and was otherwise detained, and then when release came out with this statement, no, I wasn't, I was just hiding.
Right. So, I mean, we are in America. So, and Elon practicing his freedom of speech, as he supposedly says he has the freedom of speech platform, and you think that the black guy had nothing to do with maybe something going on in there? No? Okay. All right. So, and the whole reason behind this beef was essentially because of that big spending bill, that big beautiful bill that Trump has going on, which doesn't really favor Elon as he would like it to in certain areas, like the EV credits he gets and things of that area. So Elon was coming out and saying it's like, I think it was one interview, I forget what outlet it was. He said you could either I don't think you could be both. You could either be big, you could be beautiful, but I don't think you could be both. But then he went on X and then he tweeted, I think it was yesterday or 2 days ago, saying that, no, it had to be yesterday. Yesterday saying it's like big, he was like slim, beautiful Bill or something like that. Just kind of mocking at his Bill. So, I mean, it's just interesting where this is going to go. The media, had their reaction about it. Everybody was making memes because that's how the people typically react first to everything. But that's what we got going on here. What's going on in your end?
I guess the news right now is with all the kids graduating from college.
Mhm.
There's
Sorry, before we move into that, I wanted to ask you one last question in that topic. Who needed who more, Elon or Trump?
that's a tough one because Elon manipulated Trump to get everything he wanted and took apart every agency that he has to go through or regulates whatever he's doing. So Elon now has a green light to do anything he wants without regulation, but Trump also needed Elon's support to get it elected. So it really just comes down to Elon bought the presidency.
Mm. So, do you think that Trump needed Elon more?
If he wanted to be president and not sit in a jail cell, but Elon also wanted to pad his pockets.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure who won that one.
You know, that is here. I mean, I think it is true. It depends, right? Because I think it's Elon. Trump needed Elon to win the presidency, but I think Elon didn't realize what it was going to cost him, aside from all the money he poured in. Because his Tesla company is under $1 trillion valuation now. I think it dropped like 12%. It bounced back 5% today, but he lost a substantial amount of wealth. He was the wealthiest man on the planet. I think he's like, I don't know, maybe like 4 or 5 now. So I think from a power measuring contest, because I think this is what a lot of this ends up boiling down to, is I think that Trump got the better end of the deal.
Well, they always say when you lie down with dogs, you wake up with fleas. So
Interesting. All right. Well, sorry.
For both of you, a question.
What?
Do you think they'll leave Teslas alone now?
Do we think they'll leave Teslas alone now?
Nope. I think that we'll be seeing.
Nope. Trump's gonna cut the credit for electric vehicles. Then people aren't gonna buy Teslas. The Cybertruck was already considered a massive failure, so that's why the market started selling off Tesla. And as long as the two are feuding, Tesla stock's gonna go down.
Well, I think we're going to see instances where maybe not only the left now are managing Teslas. Because there's the MAGA that really loves Elon, and there's the MAGA that really loves Trump. So there's going to be a little bit of a divide there. A little bit. I don't think much, but
Unfortunately, Tesla got branded with this administration. So Trump's going to have to be out of office for a period of time before Teslas are going to be able to come back.
yeah, I saw a meme of Zoolander. You know Zoolander, right? The movie with what's his name again? Ben Stiller and Owen Wilson. Where the scene where they bypass each other, and then Ben Stiller does the look, and the look, the caption says is Democrat destroying Tesla, and then Owen Wilson passes by, and then he turns and he does the look, and it says Trump MAGA fan turning around to help out the Democrat. Now because they're pissed off at Trump. Or something. One of the ways. I don't think you're gonna find. I mean, you're not gonna find a video in images. Hold on, let's see. That is funny. I never realized that Trump does kind of have the Zoolander look. Go back up. Go back up all the way up. When you click that second picture. I mean that second video. I never noticed that.
Well, that was a look he was practicing for, so he chose that on purpose. I mean, that's his presidential
here's
portrait.
another thing. Look up the latest Trump picture. I know we're getting all sidetracked here, but look up the latest Trump presidential picture.
Wasn't that it?
No. That was the jail picture. Images. Now, do 3 side by side. Look up 3 side by side. No. On the same search. Yep. 3 side by side. Okay, I'm not seeing anybody have it here. But if you look up here, look up, go back. Oh, sorry. Okay. So on that second image, don't click it. On that second image, you see that's Trump when he went to jail, the one on the right, and then the one on the left is Trump when he got elected president. And then the image to the right of that, is the latest one. That was 2 days ago. Click on that. That's the latest one. Now scroll down a little bit. Yeah, so that's the latest one. Scroll back up. Someone pointed this out, which I thought was interesting. Click on the picture to the right of this one. That was the one from 2020. I mean, 2018. That was 27. Yeah, from his 2017 to 2021 admin. And then this is the one now. Someone pointed out that for whatever reason, the background keeps getting darker. Did you notice that? On his portrait.
Okay.
I mean, do you not find that interesting? That detail. You have the one from 2020.
Well, you're going from A to B. You don't have a lot of options. You stay the same, you get lighter, you get darker. There's no trend. It's just one of those three things is going to happen.
Well, people were just pointing that out, so I thought that was an interesting note. So, what were you telling us about just now?
I was going into the college graduates, and there seems to be more graduates than jobs available. There's a slowdown in hiring, which isn't necessarily a good thing. That's usually indicative of a recession coming. Another issue is AI has been replacing tech jobs. So if you're graduating with a tech degree, it's getting harder to get a job because now you're competing against AI. AI is also eliminating entry jobs. So it doesn't matter what field you're in, AI's kind of taking over the entry level job position. So that's going to make it harder.
Yeah.
And then there's some graduates that refuse to be underemployed. So they won't take a lesser job just to have a job because they have a degree, which, if you graduate and you don't have a job, I would think a job is better than no job, but that doesn't seem to be the philosophy.
Kanye has a quote about that. I won't say it over camera,
but then not every job you need to go to college for. There's a shortage of trade jobs in this country, and you don't need to do college route for that. You just need to do more of an apprenticeship to be able to take over a trade. There's this story where a guy calls a plumber to take care of some issues at his house. The plumber does a great job, hands him the bill. The guy looks at the bill and goes, "This is ridiculous." Plumber's like, "Sorry, but those are the going rates." The guy's like, "I'm a doctor and I don't make this much." The plumber responded, "I didn't make that much either when I was a doctor. That's why I became a plumber."
Yeah, I mean, if you want to make money and you don't care about how you make it, just be a plumber because they make good money.
Trades.
But I think this is just showing that the world is moving in a different direction when it comes to what the market is demanding. Right? I think it was somewhere. Let's pull it up here on Google. I think it was somewhere I read. I think it was Carnegie, maybe 100 years ago. He helped evolutionize the education system. Look it up in that way.
He did.
So, because he found that we weren't prepared for what the market was gonna need in the future. So, here, let's see this. Andrew Carnegie, a prominent industrialist and philanthropist, significantly impacted in many ways, revolutionized the education system through his extensive philanthropy, particularly through the establishment of institutions and initiatives. So he saw that we weren't ready for what was to come. So what does that look like for the future? Who is going to be our Andrew Carnegie of today? Is it going to be people in tech? Is it going to be Elon? Is it going to be Gates? Is it going to be Jason Wong?
It's probably going to be Gates.
Why Gates?
He's looking ahead to see where we have failures in our system. And one of the big failures is food production. So he's trying to ensure that a lot of land in the United States gets reserved to stay production for food for farmers. This way, we will be able to be dependent upon ourselves
Yeah.
and not other countries for survival.
Yeah. I mean, I think that we're just moving into a new world here. And people, I know it's scary. I know change is scary, but with change comes a lot of opportunities. And I think those that prepare for it will capitalize on it. And those that don't will get left behind.
Yep.
So, and I had a conversation with somebody. I was in class, in one class, in an innovation class a couple years back. And we were going back and forth about AI. This was with ChatGPT really started wrapping up, and I had an editor at the time that I ended up letting go because AI was essentially doing half of the stuff that he was doing for me. And it was the conversation, and we had the conversation because everybody's like, "Oh my god, it's gonna replace all humans and all that kind of crap like that." And I was like, "Well, I think if anything, it's gonna force us to excel, not excel, but revolutionize. Not, I don't know what the word is. It's kind of like challenge us to think to learn at a higher level rather than repetitive stuff, right? Because that's gonna happen, but we're a code away from getting that taken care of. But the last thing I wanted to touch on was Kevin O'Leary. He was in a segment of Fox News called Outnumbered. He was asked about the 4-day work week. And Kevin O'Leary is old school in that sense, right? You work hard to get the things you want to get to where you want to go. He said that it's the stupidest idea he's ever heard. What are your thoughts on the 4-day work week?
Go check out Iceland.
Go check out Iceland. Okay, well, unpack that a little bit. What exactly do you mean by that?
They switched to a 4-day week years ago, and they've said it's the best thing that they've ever done.
Mm-hmm. But also, okay, you know about this field more than I do, but I don't think that it might be a little bit of an apple to oranges comparison when it comes to what U.S. provides in terms of the world market versus Iceland. So, because we're like a leading nation, Iceland isn't really. So, do you think that really makes sense for what America is, a 4-day work week?
If we switch to a 4-day work week, I think would be end up being more efficient because you're down to only 4 days. So the procrastination's going to go away. You realize your time's valuable. You're going to be more productive. You're going to get to be more relaxed having a 3-day weekend versus a 4. So ultimately, if we can get everybody on that on track to do that, I think it could work. The hard part's going to be when you have a hybrid situation with some are on 5, some are on 4.
Yeah.
That's where we will have issues.
Well, I think there's definitely a lot of research that backs what you're saying. I mean, Gallup, we've referenced Gallup researchers all the time. They on some of the research they have done on this, they said that a significant portion of the U.S., about 77% of the population, believe a 4-day work week would positively impact their well-being.
Yep.
However, there are also a few drawbacks. Some are saying that while 4-day work week can be beneficial, there's also more higher burnout rates versus a 5-day work week. How does that like? How do you process that? You would think it'd be the opposite, right? You would think if you work an extra day, you would think that if you would think that you work 1 day less, that you wouldn't really burn out as much. But they're finding that people are burning out more doing a 4-day work week than a 5-day work week. Do you think it's because maybe they're working longer days?
I'm not sure if it's because they're working longer. I'm not sure it's because we're not all on the same system. I mean, that could be a part of it.
Well, O'Leary said that 40% of his staff work remotely all around the world and it's project based. He doesn't care about where they get it done as long as it's get it done. That's all that really matters because he says that he believes that the workplace is not going to go back to what it was. I know offices are trying to make people have a hybrid situation, but a lot of entrepreneurs out there don't think it's ever fully going to go back into that. So
No, it's not.
And I know part of when the pandemic happened, a lot of the things that people were enjoying was working remote, but also studies were coming out saying that people were working longer days.
Yeah.
So I think that's part of what might have contributed to that. But me personally, it might be an age thing or maybe my season of life. I don't like the idea of a 4-day work week. Tell me the truth. Hey, gloves off here. Gloves off here.
When's the last time you were in the office?
When was the last time you worked 4 days only in the week?
Never.
Hey, so are you going to start tomorrow if it becomes a thing?
Sure, why not?
Come on, let's be honest here. In entrepreneurship, we know that doesn't exist. That doesn't exist. We work literally every day. So, and I think that's what gives us a competitive edge with a lot of other countries. So I think if we want to continue having that hustle and that grind and that entrepreneurship thing, then why would we slow that down?
Well, 4-day work week could help that.
How so?
Because you could have a full-time job and then have 3 days to focus on whatever you're doing on the side.
Oh, yeah, but you're assuming most people are going to work there because 4-day work week means what? 10-hour days, right? Because people are still going to get their 40 hours and some might just do 35, right?
Well, 36.
36. So you really are saying that people are going to say, all right, Friday comes in, because when people on a regular 5-day work week, when 5 o'clock hits, don't talk to me. I'm gone. I'm clocking out. I'm meeting the team or the friends for happy hour. Do you really think people, the vast majority of the population is going to say, all right, now I'm going to work on my side business. Now I'm going to scale this, that, and the other. Do you really think that's the direction we're going to go? Or is it more realistically that our productivity overall goes down?
If you're an entrepreneur, yeah, you'll go work on your side gig.
Yeah, but are you for it or no?
I'm for it.
You're for it? That's interesting. You also say you don't buy houses anymore.
I don't.
All right. Yeah, I would think you're a lawyer sometimes with the way you play with words. So I'm against the 4-day work week. What do you think? Are you against the 4-day work week or for it? For it? For it. So I mean, I don't know. That's just my thing. It might just be me. But
okay,
I'm
going to offer you the opportunity. Have a full-time job with benefits, 401k, health insurance, and you still have 3 days to do your podcast.
I hear you. But also the next day you could get replaced by someone younger than you and that costs half of what you cost.
So they're going to replace you with somebody younger and half of what you cost.
I've heard a lot of stories from friends.
They can't replace you at half of what you cost. That's illegal.
What I'm saying is that you could work for a company. It's not, as we had this conversation before, it's not the same thing. People switch their careers like every 3-4 years these days.
2 to 3 years.
2 to 3 years, even more to the point. And there's literally nothing to stop a company from saying, all right, we're letting you go tomorrow, no matter however long you've worked.
Correct.
So I don't know. That gives me kind of, and especially after the pandemic, I don't know, man. I don't really sleep easy at night knowing that could be a possibility. So
all the more reason to save and invest and make sure you're taking care of you.
Yeah, that'd be a great segment into our next recording. So we'll leave it at that. Arthur, last thoughts.
Last thoughts about what?
I don't know. Anything. You have anything to say? 4-day work week, huh?
I'm all for
I don't buy it. I don't buy it at all. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this episode of the EP Podcast. If you haven't already, like, comment, subscribe, share it with your friends, and turn on that notification bell for many more episodes to come. If you'd like to support us, please head to eppodcast.us where you can shop our merch. Till next time.